Hi guys, welcome back to Silent Partner. This is me, I am Teach, and you are watching the Bible A Synopsis. This week we're going to be looking at the book of Job. We have actually reached episode 20 of the Bible A Synopsis, which I'm really happy about. So thank you to all you guys who have been watching the channel and learning from this stuff. As I say every week, if you guys are really getting something out of it, please pass it on to friends and family that you know may be able to also receive something out of this, and let's keep the gospel moving and share the gospel together. Yeah. Anyway, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all of your love and all your support, and I will continue to keep going as long as I know that you guys are getting something out of this. Okay, so today, as I said, we have reached episode 20, and today I'm going to be looking at the book of Job. Okay, now grab your pens and your pads, and we're going to start taking some notes in a moment. I will be reading through my notes, so you guys should be taking your own notes and we should be learning together. Anyways, what was I going to say? So the book of Job, normally I'll say to you, okay, so the book of Job was written around 5th century BC, 3rd century BC, or whatever. With the book of Job, we don't actually know when it was written. So some people say that the book of Job should be actually situated around the time of Genesis. So it should be in between Genesis and Exodus. But yet the book of Job turns up after the book of Esther, which is thousands of years later. So we don't know the exact timeline of this book. Now, some people turn around and say that the book of Job is a parable. But yet we know that Job is considered to be one of the great prophets. So because of that, we know that this actually happened. So what we will discuss today is what we do know. I can only tell you what the book of Job is about, and that is what I'm going to do, give you a synopsis of what the book is about. Okay, and this is what we do know. We know that the book of Job is a powerful and thought-provoking book exploring suffering, faith, and the complexities of divine justice. Okay, now the book of Job, it centers on Job, who is a wealthy and an upright man living in the land of Uz, whose life is turned upside down when Satan challenges his integrity before God. So this is what happens in the book. One day Satan challenges Job's integrity, suggesting that Job is only faithful because of his prosperity. So to test this claim, God permits Satan to strip Job of his wealth. So God allows Job to be stripped of his wealth and his family. And in a powerful series of events, Satan goes to work, stripping away Job's possessions, his property, his family, placing him at the center of a profound test of faith. And despite enduring immense loss, Job steadfastly clings to his belief in God, grappling with his grief while steadfastly refusing to curse God, the divine. So then, the book of Job, the book moves on to another debate between God and Satan again, where Satan once again questions Job's faithfulness. Now, this time, Satan suggests that Job is only righteous because he still has his health. And Satan says, but if you strip away his health, he will curse you. So, God allows Satan to touch Job's health. So to test Job's integrity, God permits Satan to take away Job's health. So Satan afflicts Job with boils and sores and severe pain. And in Job's suffering, he grapples in his anguish and questions the reasons behind his misfortune. But despite losing everything, Job remains steadfast in his faith, And although expressing deep sorrow and bitterness, he still refuses to curse God. Anyway, we move on. So later on in the story of Job, his friends turn up. So his friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, they all turn up and attempt to comfort Job in his distress. But unfortunately, they offer unhelpful explanations that suggest that Job is only this way because he's being punished by God because of his sin. So Job defends himself, and he defends his innocence while struggling himself with the questions of why the righteous suffer. And during this time, he engages in a series of conversations with these friends of his, until he gets to the end of these questions and his conversations with his friends, and he decides to go directly to God. And he decides to start seeking understanding from God himself. And in this dramatic turn of events, God actually responds to Job's questions. But instead of answering the questions, God asks Job even harder questions about the mysteries of the universe, reminding Job of the limits of his human understanding. This humbling encounter forces Job really to acknowledge the limits of his human understanding and to repent for daring to question God or God's divine will. So in this there's the end of Job, there's this powerful conclusion where all of Job's fortunes are restored. And once restored to health and wealth, Job emerges from his trials with a deeper understanding of faith and the complexities of divine justice. So the book of Job raises questions about our own suffering, what we see as our own righteousness, and the relationship between ourselves and God. And this has been the book of Job. Thank you.